This song is mentioned Harry Boardman a couple of times. In 1968, Topic Records got together with Harry, who put together an LP. You remember LPs? It was called Deep Lancashire, and it was all Harry's mates, basically, the Oldham Tinkers. I think Mike Harding was on it, Harvey Kershaw, Mary Kershaw, Dave, there's two or three, Pete Smith, and one or two others. So this, when you bought this song, this is the first song, side one, track one, and it's called The Handloom Weaver's Lament. And it's all about a miserable old bloke who's in the weaving industry, and he's just moaning his fate about the fact that he isn't getting paid very much. And this banjo actually belonged to Harry. All this dirt on it here is Harry's DNA, so it knows the song, or it should do anyway. You gentlemen and tradesmen who ride about at will, look down on these poor people, it's enough to make you krill. Look down on these poor people as you ride up and down. I'm sure there is a God above will bring your pride right down. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. You pull down our wages, shamefully to tell. You go into the market and you say you cannot sell. And when that we do ask you when these bad times amend, you quickly give an answer when the wars are at an end. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. When we look on our poor children, it grieves our hearts full sore. Their clothing it is worn to rags and we can get no more. With little in their bellies as they to work must go, while yours do dress as lanky as monkeys in the show. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. You go to church on Sundays and I'm sure it's no but pride. There can be no religion when humanity's thrown aside. There'll be a place in heaven as there is in the exchange. Our poor souls must not come near there, like lost sheep they must range. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. And you say that Bonaparte has been the spoil of all, and that we have got reason for to pray for his downfall. Now Bonaparte is dead and gone, and it is plainly shown that we've got bigger tyrants in bonies of our own. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. So now, my lads, for to conclude, it's time to make an end. Let's see if we can form a plan that these bad times will mend, and give us our old prices as we have had before, and we can live in happiness and rub off the old score. You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought on to account for what you've sorely done. Yes. Also on that LP was this song. It was sung by Lee Nicholson, and he learnt it from going round the pubs in Bury, I think. So it was a version of this song. It was written in round about 1932. My dad was looking at these notes on here, and Randolph Sutton, that's who it was. He said, "Oh, Randolph Sutton, your grandmother knew him." They were born in the same sort of area, Clifton area of Bristol, and I wished I'd known then while she was still alive, so I could ask her things like that. She also knew other people as well. Clapham and Dwyer were radio stars in the 1930s, and I've got a picture of Charlie Clapham. It was in the family album, you know, he's outside their house. Anyway, this song is called, or people know it as the Roppenstall Annual Fair, but it's actually called At Roppenstall Fair. And if you go back to 1917, Weston and Lee wrote a song called At Somerset Fair, and this sort of goes on from that. There's a few elements of that Sommerset Fair in this song. Your bit goes, because I couldn't get the band in, Adele wouldn't pay for that. So your bit goes da 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 da. Just behind the gasworks down in Rottenstall, that's a little town in Lancashire. They'd some fun up there, they did and all. Last Friday week they had a fair up there. They had coconut swings and figure-8 switchback robots and a roundabout. He and everyone said what greatly fun when the lads and lassies heard the showman shout. Walk up, come and see the fat girl, 40 stone of loveliness and every bit her own. Oh, what a picture with the accent on the pig. Farmers with their walking sticks kept giving her a dig, but the great little lassie didn't say that her chassis had been blown up with gas, I do declare. She really looked lovely until a silly clown stuck a pin in her, said the showman with a frown. All hands to the pump, lass, the vessel's going down at the Rottenstall annual fair. Da 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 da. Walk up, see the house of mystery. Ladies pay a tanner and be tickled in the dark. In went the women saying, "Hey, but this is cheap." Showman pulled a lever and they all fell in a heap. Through a hole they shot, and when they got to the bottom there were frills and flounces everywhere. The girls started screaming, it caused a lot of strife. I never saw so many legs and stockings in my life. I saw some funny things I'd only seen upon the wife at the Rottenstall annual fair. Da 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 da. Walk up, come and see the mermaid, all her life alive and half a woman, half a fish. In went the fellas just to show it wasn't swank. Little Johnny Higgins poured some whiskey in the tank. Well, she got so frisky when she swam in the whiskey, and the first time she come up for air, she bumped in the audience, gave her tail a swish. Her tail tumbled off and she really looked delish. She shouted, "What's your fancy, a bit of meat or a bit of fish?" at the Rottenstall annual fair. Da 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 da. Walk up, come and get your money's worth. See the tattooed lady with the pictures on her skin. In went the fellas and they all began to cheer. To see upon her skin were all the towns of Lancashire. On her form so pretty she had Manchester City with the town all stuck up in the square. She'd Bolton, Bacup, Ashton under line. The coal pits of Wigan I thought were very fine. But they all started singing, "Daddy, don't go down the mine." At the Rottenstall annual fair. Oh, thank you. Thank you for singing along with that one. You can sing along with this one as well. It's a Keith Marsden song. I'll do this song called Normandy Orchards, and this is about, for this one you've got to imagine that I'm an 18-year-old girl with long blonde hair. And, well, never mind. You've got to have good imagination. Because I'm the sort of subject of the song, really. And it's about the time when we were practicing for D-Day, and villages and towns along the coasts were being invaded by British, Canadian, American, whoever else troops. To try and see what they could do for D-Day, how they would land and all the rest of it. It goes like this. There is a chorus, so please join in if you catch it. They're building a camp on the cornfields of Tallingham, bulldozers churning and changing the land. Long barbed wire fences and acres of tarmac, nissen huts raised where the crops used to stand. Wide-eyed young village girls giggling and staring at tanks and transporters that darken the skies. There's convoys of lorries with fresh faces peering out. So many young men come learning to die. They say you can still hear the village hall band. Grey ghostly couples still glide round the floor, but Normandy orchards orchards were waiting to welcome new partners for death in the mad dance of war. Mother has started a comforts committee, but Reverend John's more concerned about sin. Hughes at the White Swan is rubbing his hands a lot, watching the troops and the profits roll in. Eager young squaddies with overdone courtesy, tipping their caps to the girls going by. Yet too soon from school to be licentious soldiery. So many young men come learning to die. They say you can still hear the village hall band. Grey ghostly couples still glide round the floor. But Normandy orchards were waiting to welcome new partners for death in the mad dance of war. And Mother would have a blue fit if she knew about Lieutenant Johnson and walks in the wood. She's laid down the law and she's always gone on about men being beasts, so a girl must be good. But even she'd laugh at our clumsy propriety, me far too fearful and him far too shy. She might even pity his lonely bewilderment. One of the young men come learning to die. They say you can still hear the village hall band. Grey ghostly couples still glide round the floor. But Normandy orchards were waiting to welcome new partners for death in the mad dance of war. Peace came to Allingham many long years ago. Time passing by healed the scars on the land. Tanks on the village green, just a fond memory. Now corn grows again where the huts used to stand. And yet as I walk through the woods on a summer's night, by the tree's edge where the wind starts to sigh, I still hear their voices all rising in harmony. Lost, wasted young men come learning to die. They say you can still hear the village hall band. Grey ghostly couples still glide round the floor. But Normandy orchards were waiting to welcome new partners for death in the mad dance of war. Well, I used to live in Peterborough for my sins, part of my job. I was electrifying railways, so you never really stayed in one place. Anyway, while I was in Peterborough, there's this guy in a folk club, we were having a little sing around, and when it came to his turn, he sang a song. I don't think it was this one, but he sang a song. He said, "Oh, what a great song that was, where did you get it?" He said, "I wrote it." And it came round again, and oh, another good song. Did you get that from somewhere? No, I wrote that as well. What he was doing, he was looking up the history of the fens around, Lincolnshire and Peterborough and Cambridge and that sort of area, and he couldn't find songs, but he found the stories, so he wrote songs about the stories. And this is one of them. It's called "Following Olga to Lynn." It's about boats going up and down the Cam and the Great Ouse. So Batespine Lock is near Cambridge, and Lynn is King's Lynn. And all these people and boat names are real. And what they were carrying was gas water, which was filthy stuff. It was a byproduct of the coke industry. When they got to King's Lynn, they sort of made it into fertiliser and ammonia and stuff like that. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. That is the chorus. I help crew a tank barge, Lizzie's her name. We're following Enid pulled on a stout chain. Our holds were packed full down in Cambridge town. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. Try that. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. Our skipper is Edwards, and a fine man is he. There's no better captain, sailed off the salt sea. We're freshwater sailors on England's canals. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. With the throb of her engine and smoke from her stack, our tug pulls us on to the Bates Bight Lock. And it's one by one, and we all pass through. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. There's smoke in the distance, it's Nelly for sure, returning with Eric, whose hull begs for more. Sometimes we will stop them for news at the jar. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. Jack Lee is their skipper, he's an awkward old clown. He'll stop at each alehouse when you want to get home. But when there's no hurry, your tongue turns to stone. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. King's Lynn is in sight now, and the week is worn through, and it's back to our families for good homemade stew. And we'll eat no more smoke for a day or two. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. On Enid and Lizzie, gas water tank barges following Olga to Lynn. Right, I shall do the second song that Keith Marsden wrote. I don't know whether he wrote this one first and then Normandy Orchards after, but this one, Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, which is one of the beaches, and I'm not quite sure which one it was. It might have been Juno. Somebody will tell me, I'm sure, that the troops landed on. They've had the practice, they're on their way over, and they're landing. LCI is Landing Craft Infantry. And I think the last verse still holds true today. Oh, we had to make the beaches from the lousy LCI, and the landing ramps were swaying like a Portsmouth dockyard drunk. She pitched us and she heaved us till we had to land or die, and by the time we'd made it half the tanks a port had sunk. So as seasick sodden rabble we ran blindly everywhere, as the Germans thinned the numbers out at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. Aye, the Germans thinned the numbers out at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. We'd practiced at the Great Invasion plan, storming undefended beaches on a friendly Dorset shore. But when the tanks were grinding through the wounded in the sand, we knew we weren't on blighty exercises anymore, and we grew up very quickly, moving out through street and square, shooting first and asking after at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, shooting first and asking after at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. We had patriotic heroes, we had make-believe old sweats, but none had come with 1914 innocence for fun. If we paid the bill again for them this time they'd not forget, and there'd be a golden future when the present job was done. But hero, sweat or dreamer, the old reaper didn't care, as the German swung his scythe through us at Saint-Auban-sur-Mer. Aye, the German swung his scythe through us at Saint-Auban-sur-Mer. And now I see the glories of the brave new world we've made, from the slaughter and the sacrifice, the maiming and the pain. And I see the lying leaders as they posture and parade, and trample on the dead men's dreams, and ride to war again. So don't tell me I was lucky I came back from over there. The lucky ones died with their dreams at Saint-Auban-sur-Mer. Aye, the lucky ones died with their dreams at Saint-Auban-sur-Mer. Thank you. Somebody said I sounded like Alan Bell.
Oh.
Which, maybe I do, maybe I don't. So this is a song that Alan wrote around about 1972. He wrote it for a production called The Last Road North, which is about the Settle and Carlisle Railway. It's called Alice White, and you may know it. It's about a woman who went along with the navvies, the navigators, as they built the railways and the canals. She was, I think she was about 38 when she died. She died an old young woman, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't long ago, actually, they actually found her grave, so... My name is Alice White, I'll have you all to know. I left me father's farm a long time ago. My mother called me a silly lass. She said I'd rue the day that I followed on the heels of the navvies. My first man, Dandy Jack, was handsome, young and fine, and I loved him right through England as we tramped from line to line. We lived in shanty houses with lodgers and children free, and I worked to fill the needs of the navvies. When Dandy Jack was killed beneath a fall of stones, I wept and cursed the day that ever I was born. But the children needed feeding, and many men looked at me, so I jumped the brush to stay with the navvies. Time came I was deserted when the children numbered 5, so I got me yet another man for to keep us all alive. And so I've known so many men, they call me Alice Free, as I've lived my life away with the navvies. And now I'm getting old and grey before me time, with the work and the childbearing as we've tramped from line to line. But I'll never forget poor Dandy Jack lying so cold in his grave. He's the only one I loved of the navvies. Alice White, thank you very much. Talking about the Lion and Albert earlier on. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Will you join in?
Yes.
Here we go. Written by Mariette Edgar and performed by many other people, but Stanley Holloway, of course. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, and he'd a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. Well, they didn't think much to the ocean, the waves they was fiddling and small. There was no wrecks and nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo, where they'd lions and tigers and camels and old ale and sandwiches too. There was one great big lion called Wallace. His nose was all covered in scars, and he lay in a somnolent posture with the side of his face on the bars. Now, Albert had heard about lions, how they was ferocious and wild, and to see Wallace lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to the child. So straightway the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with his horse's head handle, and he shoved it in Wallace's ear. You could tell that the lion didn't like it. For giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad. Oh. Now Pa, who had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, young lion's at Albert," and Mother said, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly when all's said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy he's eaten?" And Pa said, "Am I sure? There's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Yon lion's at Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then Mother said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for a lion to go and eat Albert, and after we've paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse straight away, saying how much to settle the matter. And Pa said, "Well, what do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward. When she thought where her Albert had gone, she said, "No, someone's got to be summonsed." So that was decided upon. Then off they went to the police station in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what happened to Albert, and they proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said as he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name. At that Mother got proper blazing. "Why, thank you, sir, kindly," said she. "What, waste all our lives raising children to feed ruddy lions? Not me." This is on again, for you. All right. Jake Thackeray, of course. And if you've never heard this song, it's all about women who can't stop talking. Not that I'm suggesting there's any here tonight, of course there aren't, but in some cultures, it's, well, you think. I love a good woman, it makes me day. To me it is palpable proof of God's existence, a posterior. I love elbows, thighs and breasts and ankles, knees. It's the tongue on a woman that spoils the job for me. Please understand, I respect and admire the frailer sex, and I love every one of them just as much as the next. misogynist, but give some women the ghost of a chance to talk, and thereupon they will go on again, on again, on again, on again, on again, on again, on. I fell in love with a woman with wonderful thighs and hips, and a sensational belly. I just never noticed that her lips were always moving. Only when we got to the altar and she had to say I do, she gathered herself and folded her arms and took in a breath, and I knew she could have gone on again, on again, on again, till the entire congregation passed out and the vicar passed on and the choir boys passed through puberty. At the reception I gloomily noted her family's jubilant mood, their maniacal laughter and their ghastly gratitude. She talks to me when I go for a shave or a sleep or a swim. She talks to me on a Sunday when I go singing hymns, or drinking heavily when I go mending me chimney pot. She's out there in the street, and at 95 on me motorbike she's on the pillion seat, whittering on again, on again, on again and again. When I'm eating and thinking and drinking and reading, and when I'm saying me rosary, she will never stop talking to me. She's one of those women who will never use 3 or 4 words when a couple of thousand will easily do. She even talks without stopping to me in our bed of a night, throughout the sweetest of our intimate delight. She never gives over, not even stopping when we go hammer and tong towards the peak, except maybe for a sigh or a moan and one perfunctory shriek. She just goes on again, on again, on again, and I must assume that she has never noticed that she's just been interrupted, totally unruffled she isn't. As far as I can see, I might just as well have been poking the fire or stirring up the tea. She will not take a hint, not once she's made a start. I could yawn or belch or bleed or faint or she would not utter a syllable. I could stand in front of her grimly sharpening up an axe. I could sprinkle her with paraffin, then ask her for a match. She'd just go on again, on again, on again, even more. The hind leg of a donkey is peanuts for her. She could bore the balls off a buffalo. Mother of God, that crime one day, oh let your kingdom come. But in the meantime, mother, will you strike this woman dumb? Well, believe it or not, she appeared to me then and there, the Blessed Virgin herself in answer to my prayer. Despite the vulgarity, shimmering softly dressed in blue and holding out a hand, I cocked a pious ear as the Mother of God began, and she went on again, on again, on again, on, and I will have to state how very much I sympathise with the rest of the family. Give some women the ghost of a chance to talk, and thereupon they will go on again, on again, on again, on and again and again and again. They will go on again, on again, on again, on again, on again, on again, on. There's 2-3 good tacklers in county, but few to compare with our Jim. He knows all there is about weaving, and a loom holds no mysteries for him. Of course, he's a bit absent-minded, like many another in trade, and sometimes when we're telling stories, we laugh at the blunders he's made. When going down shed till the morning, he stops when he spies a strange face, and he says to this smart-looking weaver, "How long has thou worked in this place?" So she says, "Well, I can't say exactly, but I think I've been here 6 years. That's funny," he says, "I've never seen thee afore. There's summat a little bit queer." So he asked her name and she told him, and he went down to the office to find if she'd been pulling his leg like, or if for 6 years he'd been blind. "You're right, lass," he says on returning, "and I hope as thou bear no ill will. I must have been dreaming this morning. I've come in wrong bloody mill." You may know that from the Fivepenny piece, but Eddie Crotty, who sort of wrote all those, well, he didn't write them, he put tunes to things. Bill Froggatt was a Stalybridge poet that used to write these things, and say Eddie Crotty would put music to them. He also wrote a few others as well, but right, we're coming to the end, so I'll do this song. It's called Last Train, okay, written by Stanley Accrington, and Stan used to say he'd listened to all the drivers and other people who remembered the days of steam. He was a station master at Rochdale, and he, on his way home from Rochdale to well, the station was Crompton and Shaw. He didn't live in Crompton or didn't live in Shaw, so he must live in a place called And. So that's he wrote this on his way home, although it'd probably been going round his head for a bit. This is Last Train by Stanley Accrington. I can close my eyes sometimes and still smell the smoke as old Fred the porter slams doors. There's a glance at the clock and a nod to the guard, and the train is in motion once more. Down the Rossendale valley on a sultry warm day, the clanking of wheels echoes on. But I'm dreaming out loud, sure it's only a cloud, and the last train from Bacup has gone. I can stand in the car park remembering old tales of a station that's long since pulled down, of fly-shunted wagons that ran off the rails, ending up in the centre of town. Now the juggernauts carry what's left of the trade, with the cotton bales piled high upon. And where I worked with me mates is now a housing estate, and the last train from Royton has gone. And at 3 in the morning, when I used to sign on, how I wake half in a dream. I'm a guard on a special that's bound for the coast, with a 460 getting up steam. We've got packages for printers and pigeons to release, spare seats after Haywood not one. And now they jump on a plane for a fortnight in Spain, and the last train to Fleetwood has gone. And at Measurement Halt, the tracks have been lifted, the platform is all overgrown. There's willow and scrub where the Delft donkey ran, and the valley has claimed back its own. In the Saddleworth Hills on a crisp autumn day, a plume of smoke still lingers on. But I'm dreaming out loud, sure it's only a cloud, and the last train for Dogcross has gone. Down the Rossendale valley on a sultry warm day, the clanking of wheels echoes on. But it's all in me mind, when I wake up I find that the last train from Bacup has gone. Right, I'll finish on this one. It's a little love song. I'm in love with the fairest signora, for she's such a dear little soul. She thinks that I'm an Italian too, that's why she loves me top hole. Her father he liketh me not, of him I am daily in fear. So I wait till midnight until he's in bed, then I warble this song to me dear. This is your bit. Signora, signora, are you coming home tonight? Signora, signora, I'm here in the pale moonlight. If your father's spaghetti won't give his consent and says that you can't marry me, I'll start a vendetta, I'll stick my stiletto in a nice little place he will never forget her. Signora, my love, I am waiting anxiously, so slip on your camisola, jump in my gondola, and bunk-a-doodle-lido with me. Where were you? Even if you just sing bunk-a-doodle-lido with me. Now the first time I met Miss Signora, she was so busy making ice cream. I said, oh my, and she threw the glad eye, and that started love's young dream. On the freezer we sat making love, she was just warming up to me when the freezer collapsed. She fell in the ice, and ye God, she was cool to me then. All together, Signora, Signora, are you come home tonight? Signora, Signora, I'm here in the pale moonlight. If your father's spaghetti can't give his consent and says that he can't marry me, I'll start a vendetta, I'll stick my stiletto in a nice little place he will never forget her. Signora, my love, I am waiting anxiously, so slip on your camisola, jump in my gondola, and bunk-a-doodle-I-know with me. What's better? Last time. Now the father of my sweet Signora has a monkey they call Hitchy-Coo, Hitchy-Coo. I'll never forget the first time that we met, and I think he'll remember it too. She said, let me introduce Dad. 'Twas then the old man got a jar, for I made a mistake. I shook hands with the monkey and then threw some nuts at her pa. Signora, Signora, are you coming home tonight? Signora, Signora, I'm here in the pale moonlight. If your father's spaghetti won't give his consent and says that he can't marry me, I'll start a vendetta, I'll stick my stiletto in a nice little place he will never forget her. Signora, my love, I am waiting anxiously, so slip on your camisola, jump in my gondola, and bunk-a-doodle-I-know with me. Thank you very much.
These lot on the back row going mad for Sister Josephine. I can hear them in the ears.
Right.
And it's all really well doing this Italian business. What about the Spanish one?
Oh, do you want that one as well?
Yes.
First you say.
Because Christopher there wants to go, you shall die! And that's the way forward. Do you mind, Mark?
I don't mind at all.
It's been fabulous. Thank you very much, Mark.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, for you lot at the back.
Josephine.
Sister Josephine by Jake Factory, of course. Oh, Sister Josephine, what do all these policemen mean by coming to the convent in the grim limousine? After Sister Josephine, while you, Sister Josephine, you sit with your boots up on the altar screen, you smoke one last cigar. What a funny nun you are. The policemen say that Josephine's a burglar in disguise, big bad Norman, 15 years on the run. The sisters disbelieve it, no, that can't be Josephine. Just think about her tenderness towards the younger nuns. Oh, Sister Josephine, they're searching the chapel where you've been seen, in the nooks and the crannies of the nuns' canteen. After Sister Josephine, while you, Sister Josephine, take a farewell sip of Benedictine before your au revoir. funny nun you are. Admittedly her hands are big and hairy and embellished with a curious tattoo. Admittedly her voice is on the deep side and she seems to shave more often than the other sisters do. Oh, Sister Josephine, founder of the convent pontoon team. They're looking through your bundles of rare magazines after Sister Josephine, while you, Sister Josephine, give a farewell sniff of Benzedrine to the convent butchery garden. A bloody funny nun you are. No longer will her snores ring through the chapel during prayers, nor her lustful moanings fill the stilly night. No more empty bottles of altar wine come clunking from her cell. No longer will the cloister toilet seat stand upright. Oh, Sister Josephine, slipping through their fingers like Vaseline, leaving them to clutch your empty crinoline. After Sister Josephine, while you, Sister Josephine, sprinting through the suburbs when last seen, dressed only in your wimple and your rosary. A bright, funny nun you seem to be. Right, here we go. The Spaniard That Blighted My Life. They were both actually written by Billy Merson. And this song was made famous really by Al Jolson, who basically pinched it off Merson and changed a few words around. But Billy Merson, who wrote it. It was written in 1911. In 1910, he had a similar song called If I Catch Alfonso Tonight, which he used to perform with his stage wife. They did a sort of double act, if you like, and then I don't know what happened, but a year later he rewrote it and it became The Spaniard That Blighted My Life. Right, you all know the actions, don't you? No, you don't know the actions. When it comes to he shall die, he shall die, I want you to go, he shall. I go, he shall die, you go, he shall die, he shall die, he shall die. That's it. Okay? We'll do it till you get it right. List to me whilst I tell you of the Spaniard that blighted my life. List to me whilst I tell you how he stole away my future wife. 'Twas at the bullfight that we met him. We were watching his daring display, and whilst I was out for some nuts and a programme, the dirty dog stole her away. Oh yes, oh yes, but I've sworn that I'll have my revenge if I catch Alfonso Spagoni, the Toreador. With one mighty swipe I will dislocate his valley jaw. I'll find the bullfighter, I will, and if I catch the bounder, the blighter I'll kill. He shall die, he shall die, he shall die, 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 he shall die, he shall die, for I'll raise a bunion on his Spanish onion if I catch him bending tonight. That was brilliant. Still one or two of you. Yes, when I catch Spagoni, he will wish that he'd never been born. And for this special reason, my stiletto I fetched out of pawn. It cost me 5 shillings to fetch it. This expense it has caused me much pain, but the pawnbroker's promised when I've killed Spagoni, he'll take it in pawn once again. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. So tonight there will be dirty work if I catch Alfonso Spagoni, the Toreador. With one mighty swipe I will dislocate dislocate his valley jaw. I'll find the bullfight and I will, and if I catch the bounder, the blighter I'll kill. He shall die, he shall die, he shall die, 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 he shall die, he shall die, for I'll raise the onion on his Spanish onion if I catch him bending tonight. Oh, can you come with me on gigs? I need your orders. Because some of them are rubbish, you know. It takes up to the third verse before they actually get going, you know. And then they want me to do it again, you know, because they're getting into it. Right, last verse. Thank you very much for coming along tonight. I tracked him to London, but he gave me the slip once again. And they told me this morning that he'd doubled and gone back to Spain. Whatever it costs me, I'll catch him. Then no more will he give me the slip. With me last 1 and 9pence on Sunday, I'm going to Spain by the Sunday League trip. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
And then the dark deed shall be done. If I catch Alfonso Spagoni, the Toreador. With one mighty swipe I will dislocate his valley jaw. I'll find the bullfight and I will, and if I catch the bounder, the blighter I'll kill. He shall die, he shall die, he shall die, 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 he shall die, he shall die. For I'll raise a onion on his Spanish